You're listening to For Better and Worse with Jess and Rach.
So you fell off the bed?
Yes.
You leaped off the
I
bed.
threw myself
You
off
threw
the bed.
your body off the bed.
Well, okay, so the first night we were here, Herschel got out into the garage, and I was like, oh no. I don't care about cats at all, but Rachel really loves this thing. Josh loves this thing. We can't let anything bad happen to this cat. And it got really in my head. So every time I've been coming in and out of this house, I've been putting my foot up so that the cat is blocked if he's lurking, you know? And so I really internalized it, I guess, because I was having a dream.
Laura, do you have internalized anxiety?
It's external. At this point. But internally I was dealing with some stuff, I guess. It was a really weird dream, but part of it was that Herschel was getting out. Like, out of what? I don't know, but it was just, I had this feeling that Herschel was going to get out. And so I needed to throw myself in front of him so that he didn't get out. And so I literally threw myself on the ground off the bed in the middle of the night.
How did you hit your head?
Rachel, I threw my foot like no. Like,
oh, you didn't fall on the ground?
Yes, Rachel.
Oh.
It was, her whole body propelled off the bed.
And
I don't know how else to say
Megan sits up. Laura!
I was so scared.
And then she thought I legit fell, which I thought I did too. And then I was like, no, I'm in a karate position.
And I was like...
And then we couldn't stop
What?
laughing.
I thought you were unwell.
I thought I was unwell too. I was like,
you
I had to
were.
save the cat.
Well, and thank you for your efforts. Do you do that a lot?
No,
I feel like that's a version of sleepwalking.
I've never done that before in
scary.
my whole life. I've never fallen off a bed. I've never thrown myself off a bed.
But you would Laura, you know what it makes me think? What would you do for Herschel awake, you know?
Nothing.
Oh.
I can tell you that. I mean, I tried pretty hard to keep him inside the house, but I don't care about it. Like, cats, for me, are like, well, first of all, we had a childhood cat for 12 years. 17, probably. I don't know. But that cat,
12 or 17.
that
one
cat
of them.
just couldn't die. So that's sort of how I feel about cats.
You did say we can't become a cat family.
Laura,
No, absolutely not.
Did you know that one of my reoccurring nightmares
No.
is that we bury socks and he's not dead? Herschel, sorry for the YouTubers. Yep, okay.
Herschel knew.
Herschel is always fucking with shit.
He fucking shit up. But yeah, it's one of my dreams is that like we have a cat zombie. Because we bury him and he comes out of the grave dirty. And
socks by the end of his life, R.I.P. dude, but he was mangy. Disgusting.
The teeth
Oh,
smell.
he smelled so bad.
Yeah.
His hair was so matted.
Inside or outdoor cat?
He was a combo, but towards the end,
free-range cat.
towards the end,
Free range.
Yeah.
he knew when he
Ethical.
didn't have the energy or youth to fight off the wild animals anymore, so he ended up being more inside at the end of his life.
Herschel is the first cat that is in this house on purpose.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. Growing up, my mom attracted stray children and cats.
Yes, we
Seems on
told
brand. Seems on brand.
Stray cats, and the kids were always here, but she's a sweetheart. But we had like a cat that had feline AIDS and was missing an ear.
What?
Because of the AIDS?
No.
Okay.
Who is this?
Feline AIDS, right?
What cat had feline AIDS?
Sammy.
What?
You were too young to understand.
Herschel. He's a little bastard, that cat.
I will say that all he needs to humble him is one outside experience.
I don't know. I don't know if he'd
I
ever
think
come back.
you'd lose him.
Yeah, we'd lose him. Not worth the risk, Laura.
He's too small right now.
But guys, I have not properly introduced you.
Classic.
Laura's back. You've met her. I think you've met her before. I don't know how we will release these episodes.
Oh, that's true.
But my sister is here.
We're going in the archives.
Going in the archives for when Jess and I are on a little pinchy pinch. And we got Megan McCool.
Hi.
Oh,
Oh my god, I'm here.
It is Megan's literal dream to be on a podcast. So the fact that she is on the podcast of which she is the number one fan.
Number one fan.
How do you feel?
Long-time listener, first-time guest. Never in my wildest dreams would I imagine that I would be on a podcast. So I'm just living my best life.
I sprung it on her last night at dinner.
I know.
She almost cried.
She was crying in the Thai gourmet.
Oh, Thai gourmet.
Because I thought it would be fun to have these two are masters pursuing doctors, and I just thought it would be fun to have them on to talk about school and higher education and all of that. And they drove here from Indiana, one of Laura's favorite drives she's done, thanks to Megan.
Oh my God, it was the worst drive that I've ever had. It's always pretty bad. But this one, somehow an hour got added to the time. I drove the way I thought I always drove and ended up somewhere totally different.
We say glitch in the matrix.
Absolute glitch in the matrix. It's the only logical explanation.
The first hour felt like 4. I felt ill. I felt like we were never going to get out of Indiana. I was like, this is how it ends.
This is what Indiana does.
I can't get out. I can't escape.
We stopped for lunch before we left Indiana.
Oh my
We hadn't even gotten to Ohio and we were
I
like...
thought we were, remember?
Yeah.
I said, oh, thank God we're in Ohio.
I said,
You're like,
nope.
Nope. We're not.
Oh my God.
Where'd you stop?
Richmond, Indiana. Shout out. Taco Bell.
Oh, nice.
We were dying for it.
What's your go-to Taco Bell order?
Me?
Yeah, both of you. I'm interviewing both of you. These are important questions.
I love just a taco. Like a soft beef taco.
Soft taco gal.
I'll say I like a hard taco, but only in person. Like, not takeout.
Oh. Only fresh in the calf.
Yeah, because otherwise they get soggy, and then what's the point? Yeah.
I was surprised that was your go-to Taco Bell order, because I had never been with Laura before.
What's your go-to order? So, Laura, just to be clear, 1 soft taco.
2. I got 3 this time because I was pretty hungover, but...
She was.
Nice. Where are you hungover from?
Shot Girl Summer began on Thursday night. I was celebrating some stuff, surviving COVID, some exciting project news.
Oh.
And I drank my favorite, sparkling wine.
We love a sparkle.
Love a bubbly fucking wine. So I was pretty hungover and I was driving and I just felt like 3 tacos was the necessary.
And it was.
Yeah.
I think it worked out well for you.
Yeah.
What are you, Megan?
Crunchwrap Supreme.
Yes, bitch.
Beans instead of meat.
Yes.
I'm one of those people. Delicious, though.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I get beans instead of meat still from time to time.
Yeah, delish.
Oh, I love Taco Bell meat. When I was a vegetarian, I would just tell myself it's not even real.
Well, you'd get
There's a lot
drunk
of
so
soy.
you could make the choice.
That was early on when I still had like principles about it. But
Yeah.
in the later years, I was just like, Taco Bell meat is probably not real. Who cares? So I'm just.
It's
gonna
basically
get this taco.
soy.
I've heard that, there's a lot of soy in it.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
There's worse things.
Yeah. What's yours?
Crunchwrap Supreme
Yes.
and chips and nacho cheese.
That's what we got.
Oh my God! It was such a
it
treat.
was a debate. I was like, Laura, should I get the chips?
They are good. They're always crispy. Unlike Chipotle, which sometimes
Sometimes those are gross. Yes.
gross.
Just
But
oily.
when they hit, they hit.
Yeah.
Well, it's
true.
the flaky salt.
It
When
is
the flaky salt stick into them. But yeah, sometimes they're so oily that they're like
Chewy.
chewy.
Yeah.
ASMR.
I do love an ASMR moment.
I also love a good Baja Blast.
Oh my God!
I don't. I think
Freeze.
it's like funky.
Oh, I got a Diet Coke too.
Yes.
That's the go-to when I'm not feeling my best.
Bumbles.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, good.
Yeah, it was just what we needed.
I'm glad you guys got here. Thank you for coming to my opening.
What'd you think of it, dude?
Absolutely incredible. My mind was blown. I didn't know what I was walking into.
Right.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
it was crazy because you had posted so much about it on Instagram, and videos, but I couldn't like visualize the space.
Yeah.
Like where things were in relationship to each other. And so walking in was just stunning. It's a stunning space. You did such a good job.
Thank you.
It's like I like the minimalism of it because that's not usually your vibe.
No, if I it was up to me, if I had an unlimited budget and just access to things, if my brain could process it, it would be like a Polly Pocket house.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be. I think it's perfect, and I cannot wait to see what sort of magic is made there.
Me either. I'm excited for that as well. I think my issue right now is just like being patient with the whole situation.
I don't think we got that gene.
No. And it's just like, I know that I'm approaching a very busy season. Like my busiest year in general is like, as photography, it's my busiest year ever.
Because of COVID?
I think
like
so.
Pushback weddings?
But I didn't have a lot pushback. Because 2020 was like my post-divorce season, I didn't have as many bookings.
Oh, yeah.
So I only had like 15 weddings scheduled anyway. So half of them rescheduled, but not that. And some people just canceled. So it's not really that. It's just how it ended up. But hence why we're pre-recording some episodes. So in case I lose my mind, we've got some stuff to release.
Honestly, I'm just narcissistic enough to believe that this is like what was meant to be. Like I was supposed to be on these podcasts, you know?
Of course you were.
Yeah.
As were you, Megan.
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
This was Megan's first time. Well, first time in Kent, not first time in Ohio, because her bestie lives in Akron.
Shout out Joan.
Shout out Joan. Oh, she's a new
Friend of the podcast?
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the pod, yeah, for sure.
Joni. So we've just been enjoying it. It's a beautiful weekend. I showed her around downtown, showed her on campus.
If you know Kent, you know.
Oh.
And if you don't know Kent, you should.
Got some tacotanos, some Thai gourmet. We're going to get some Swensonians. Some Swensons. Yeah. On our drive out.
I love it here.
She's ready to get a job
I'm ready.
here.
I'm ready.
Kent State, girl.
Which is honestly an excellent segue.
Yes. We are talking about kind of should you go to grad school? What's that? Higher education, career changes, life. I think a lot of 20-somethings, 30-somethings are wondering on their path in life. And I wanted to get these experts' opinions on grad school, on higher education, continuing your education. Should you do it? Should you not? Will they talk you out of it? Will they talk you into it? We'll find out. We'll find out here.
Well, why don't you say, like, what's your history? Like, how did you get here? How'd you get to grad school?
Yeah. I was thinking about it earlier because there's some things that I forgot.
Life is long.
And memory is poor. Sometimes scarily so.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, so in college, I studied English and philosophy.
I didn't know that.
I know.
A philosopher in our midst.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I truly don't know why I did it. Well, I wanted like a second major because I didn't want to graduate early. Because also, like, in college, I kind of was like, okay, I know I want to do English. So for me, that means, okay, teaching. I'll be a teacher. And then I realized, actually, I don't want to teach high school or middle school because that just doesn't sound like my vibe. They scare me.
Yeah.
Kids that age scare me. And
I
also
scared me
really
at that age.
hard.
Yeah.
It's also really hard to, in 4 years, at the school I was at, get an English degree, like a major in English and secondary education. Like, you actually have to do a lot because, you know, you also have that last semester where you're student teaching. So you have to get it done quick. And I had kind of finally decided on English and something like that in, like, my second year probably. So anyway, yeah, I kind of decided, okay, maybe I don't want to teach high school. It also, you know, it's hard to get this done in 4 years, so it's not meant to be. So maybe I'll end up going back. at some point for like a master's in education or something like that. So like pretty early on, I was like, okay, like I could be going back to school, and I'm okay with that. I like school. But I also knew really early on in college that I wanted to do a volunteer program after I graduated.
Okay.
So to a certain extent, I knew my plans after I graduated, and I wasn't stressed out about figuring out a job or anything like that.
What volunteer program?
It's called the Jesuit Volunteer Corps,
Okay.
JVC, and I went to a Jesuit university.
Okay.
So that was like very much a part of like the culture, the ethos, the vibe of everything, and I learned about it really early on. It's just a year of volunteering you can do, you know,
Okay.
after you graduate. It doesn't have to be right after.
Are you like sponsored, or like how do you afford to volunteer for a year?
That's a really good question. So obviously it's a privilege to be able to do something like that in the first place. But yeah, whenever you sign up through the program, kind of what you do is you get into the program and then you start looking at the different jobs that are available to you.
Okay.
So like through JVC, like there are different, typically nonprofit organizations that will hire a JV to come in that they need a position, they need someone to do some sort of job. But if you hire a JV, it's a lot cheaper because typically those organizations will fund like your living expenses and a monthly stipend.
Okay.
And for me, that monthly stipend was $100 for like free spending money.
You could do a whole
I could do a
episode
whole
just on
podcast
this.
just about this. So I don't want to get us too far astray, but it was important to mention because like I knew whenever I graduated, that was what I wanted
Yeah,
to
so
do.
she wasn't going to
You
go
wanted
straight
to
into grad
be
school.
poor and work for free.
Yes.
Who convinced you that that was the path?
The Jesuits.
The Jesuits?
Yeah, I guess. And me, ever since I learned about it, I was like, yeah, after I graduate, I want to volunteer for
Is
a
it
year.
like off-brand Peace Corps?
Or,
Or off-brand AmeriCorps.
yeah.
Okay.
With like some different components and some different vibes.
Yeah, like Teach for America, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're not all teaching jobs. Megan had a teaching job.
I had
though.
a teaching job.
Okay.
Yes, which also
Is
was
that when you were in Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So my placement was in Detroit, so I lived with like 6 other people who were also in JVC, but they worked at different places.
Okay.
So yeah, so I did that for a year. I taught GED classes, loved it.
Okay.
But I also kind of knew, you know, I don't think that this is something I want to do forever.
Okay.
And also, to jump back a little bit to college, I had like a mentor, one of my professors, and also like talking to her and things, she was like, you know what, you should apply for an MFA program, which is like a master's in fine arts.
Okay.
And specifically, she was thinking creative writing. She was like, you're good at it. I want you to like think about this as an option.
Yeah.
And you know, I was so young and I was like, oh, okay. Like there's this professor, you know, telling me this, like that this could be an option for me. So, and I like the idea of it. I like writing. So I was like, oh, okay. So while I was in JVC, I applied for MFA programs.
Okay.
Ooh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, which is really different from what Laura and I are doing now. So I did that whole grad school application process for a master's in like creative writing and applied to like 10 schools, did the whole
Wow.
thing. In JVC, we didn't have Wi-Fi. So it was just,
I'm really struggling to understand the appeal of JVC, but I'm sure.
I know. And I had to bring it up because it's part of but it's
Part of your
just this,
process.
it's this whole other thing. It's truly, yeah. So that year I applied and I didn't get in anywhere.
Whoa.
Yeah, I didn't get in anywhere. And in hindsight, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I can't imagine like doing that.
An MFA program, yeah.
Yeah. Or being a writer in that capacity, like in that creative space.
But at the time, was it like really hard for you to like accept that?
It was weird because it was like my first time failing at something.
Oh, wow.
Like that. You know what I mean?
School.
So like, yeah, at school. And so I felt bad about that. But I also think deep down I was okay with it because I knew that it might not have been right for me.
Right.
I was like listening to like someone I respect so much, I admire so much, and I'm glad that she suggested that. And I went through that process and that experience. But I think like deep down, like I knew it's like, it's okay. It'll be okay. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So I finished up my program, moved back home, moved, you know, my parents' basement, you know.
We're here in mine.
Did the thing.
Big dreams happen in parents'
yes, you
basements.
get it. Yes, it's true. And I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate, reassess. What do I want to do? And I went back. I talked to her, and I was like, okay, I think I do want to teach. Like, I want to be a teacher, but I don't want to teach high school still. Like,
you don't want to teach youths.
I don't. I don't think I have the personality for it. So I was talking to her, and, you know, through some conversations, I decided, okay, like, I really like the idea of, like, teaching composition classes, teaching writing, like, at the college level. So that led me down the path of getting a PhD in rhetoric in an English department. Long story, but here we are.
So now you just finished your 3rd year.
Yep.
Finished coursework. You're officially a master.
Yep. So, and that's another, I guess, important point. I did a combined master's and PhD program, which you didn't.
No.
So whenever I signed up, I was like, okay, I'm here for, like, I'm doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. So I just finished my 3rd year. I'm done taking classes. I officially have my master's. So now I'm moving on to the exam stage and all of that.
Yay. So, Laura, you're looking at me scared. Is it your turn now?
No, I don't know.
What's your grad school story? Your journey to higher ed.
My journey to higher ed was inevitable in a lot of ways, but also something that I didn't anticipate. I didn't think about. It wasn't like a dream. It was just sort of like in college, I majored in English and psychology, both of which would demand further education.
Right.
And I think I applied to like master's programs in both. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. I wasn't.
Did you have a career in mind?
No.
Okay.
I thought, okay, if I get into psych programs, I'll be a psychologist. If I get into English programs, I'll teach English.
Just opening your horizons all the way around.
Yeah, to a certain extent, I didn't either. Like, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, teaching sounds good. But I also was like, I don't know what I want to do. Yeah. To a certain degree, so I kind of feel
It's wild.
Yeah, so when I got into my master's program, it was in English, and I was going to study literature. I wanted to teach literature, and specifically I wanted to teach like 20th century American literature. So like all the beat poets and like,
oh yeah, heck yeah.
You know, I was just all about the angst, like Catcher in the Rye. I was like, oh my God, we need to talk about this forever, which like it's a good book, but I think there are other books that we can bring into the canon. And so, but I took my first literature class at the graduate level, and I hated the professor. I hated the class. I got an A on a paper that everybody else got an A- on, and one of the girls who was my friend was like, I don't understand why you got an A and I got an A-. And it was the first time that I had been in like a competitive atmosphere like that. And that is not my vibe. I am team, we can all shine together.
Or just keep your shit to yourself, you weirdos.
Right.
Don't be concerned.
I know.
That's so rude.
It was. But it was also just like normal.
Was she accusing you of sucking dick for it or something?
No, but maybe she thought I was like, this is too inappropriate. So anyway, so at the time I was teaching. So I had a teaching assistantship.
Okay.
Graduate assistantship. So my education was paid for.
Top tip, probably.
Absolute top tip. Do not go to graduate school and pay for it yourself. Absolutely do not. There are too many programs that will pay for you unless it's like you're going into a program where you know you're going to make money, you know, then going into debt for it, I suppose, makes sense. I knew very early on I wasn't going to make money, so I wasn't going to spend money.
Yeah.
So I was teaching at the time, and I loved teaching. I loved teaching. It was a composition class. I was just teaching writing. I was hanging out with all these kids who were your age.
Okay.
Because I was 22, they were 18.
Yeah.
And I'm just like...
Like college writing 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just vibing. It was so much fun. And so I talked to somebody and I was like, hey, I want to change my concentration to rhetoric. Can I do that? So we did. And I finished in 2 years. And then I didn't...
And you were excited to teach at
Yes.
the college level.
Yes, I love teaching. To this day, I love teaching. I do not think that I want to continue teaching. I may, but I just think there's a lot that's broken about just the American education system that I take too personally. Like, I think if you can, like, get into the classroom and get out, it's for you.
Yeah.
But I just, like, morally, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, these students are paying how much fucking money to be here?
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, so I had no idea what I was going to do after my master's. I knew I was going to apply for like teaching positions at different universities. So I spent the summer, I applied to 30 jobs.
Oh, God.
And I didn't even like know what was normal to do. I was just like now I know you're supposed to tailor your resume. You're supposed to tailor your cover. I was just sending out the same shit to everybody.
Yeah.
And luckily a college in Georgia bit. And they were like, hey, you want to come down here? And I was like, yes, absolutely I do. So I went down and taught there for a couple of years. And it was when I was there that I realized, okay, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to teach at the college level, I have to have a PhD.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you make such little money without one that it's almost, the earth becomes pretty much uninhabitable. Thanks to climate change and poor wages. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get this PhD. And one of my professor friends there had gotten his PhD a few years earlier. So he sort of helped me through the process. And I applied to 3 schools, which is not normal.
No.
Again, I was not raised by academics. I do not consider myself an academic. I just think I like school. And it just was like, sure, this is like... It was inevitable that it was going to be my next step, but I wasn't really thinking about it. I applied to 3 schools. I applied to them based on where they were, their location. I knew nothing about prestige. I knew nothing about concentration. I knew nothing about professors. I was just like, these 3 schools are within 6 hours of Kent. I want to be closer to the family, so I'm applying. I ended up at the one that was 6 hours away and was just like ready to get in, get out. I want to teach college. I want to move on.
Yeah.
And now I just finished my 5th year
Woof.
Oh my God.
Woof.
working on my dissertation. My contract was only for 5 years, but I'm taking an extra year to just vibe, really. And
Well, you didn't want to
Not
get
true.
into the job market too soon, like this
COVID.
year. Yeah,
Oh
COVID.
my gosh. Yeah. I haven't been in a rush. I was very mindful or conscious of the fact that grad students make very little money, like pitiful money. I mean, they pay for me to go to school, but
Yeah.
as far as like living wages, based on my experience in my master's program, I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to be poor again like that. I'm not eating ramen for dinner every night. My body doesn't digest it the way it used to, you know?
Yeah. The gluten is
Oh,
so
the
thick.
sodium, geez, I just
sodium.
swell up like a balloon. I think I went into graduate school with a much more practical thought process than a lot of people going to graduate school, which is like for the dream of it. Like this, like it's a very, I can't say glamorized lifestyle, but when you see professors on TV or you think about the professors you had in college, what you see is like they show up to class 3 times a week. they sit in an office drinking coffee. And once they've been around a really long time, they make pretty good money. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. You have to be around for a really long time. And you have to fucking grind to get there. And I had no idea. I didn't know about like tenure. I didn't know about like the stages of tenure. I didn't know about like the research prestige of different universities. I just had no clue. And we ended up at an R1 institution, which just means research is the focus. Mm-hmm. And as two people who were interested in teaching, it was like, I just don't care about these things like you care about these things. And so I have always felt just a little bit different than my cohort feels. And not in a bad way, just in a like...
What is the definition of cohort?
Well, Webster defines it. It's just like a group. It's like who you come in with.
It's who you come in with your same year. You go through the whole journey together.
Okay. So I'm just trying to translate for those non-higher ed.
And cohorts are really small.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know.
My cohort was, like in my specific concentration, there were 3 of us.
Whoa.
By the end of the first year, there were 2 of us.
And now how many are there?
And now the other woman just graduated.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we were like the first in the concentration. It was new. It was a lot of like trial and error. Megan came in the 3rd year of the program, and there was still trial and error.
Yeah.
And
what's interesting about, so I can only like speak on Laura's like experience watching her go through that. I remember feeling and vocalizing to you when you started, I just didn't understand. Like, you were so unhappy, miserable. You were not having, it was not good times, man. And I just remember being like, why are you doing this? Why? Like, and I think there are years that are harder than others.
Yes.
And I forget which year was, maybe year 2 or something, where I was just like, Laura, you don't have to do this.
Right.
But you very much felt like you did.
Right. Yes. Well, there's this idea, and Megan could probably echo the sentiment. It's the sunk cost fallacy. As soon as I spent a day on campus, I felt like I had given too much time to quit. Like, I can remember my first year being like, this isn't right for me. This place isn't right for me. It's right for other people. It's not right for me. I don't know that I want to do this anymore, but I've spent a year of my life here. I might as well spend 5 more. Like, what is that logic? But it is this idea that I've started this. I need to finish it.
Yes.
And there's this mindset that grad school just sucks. It's just hard. And you just sort of have to eat shit until you're a professor. But what we've learned is even when you're a young professor, you're still just grinding. You're still just like trying to prove your worth in a sea of people who are also all just trying to prove their worth rather than recognizing their strengths, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was deeply unhappy until I decided to do it differently. I decided I was going to study what I wanted to study, even if it killed me, because what I wanted to study was sad, and I study sexual assault narratives, and it's really difficult and really personal for me, but it was like, that's what I have to do, or it's not worth it to sit in this pain. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I decided I was going to be true to myself and take the support that my advisor was giving me and just run with it, is when doors opened up. It's when I felt healthier, I felt happier, and doors opened up for me beyond academia.
Yeah.
And that was really, really important, because there's also this idea that once you're an academic, you are an academic. You can't leave. Why would you leave? Leaving, going alternate academia jobs is a failing endeavor.
Looked down upon. It's like, why would you do that?
And it's just unfair. It's just an unfair. First of all, it's unrealistic to believe that everybody who gets a PhD can be a professor, because there aren't that many jobs.
Yeah.
So that's something that we didn't know. I
knew.
Oh, and you still did it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had no idea how difficult it is to actually get a job once you have a PhD.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be difficult for you, knowing you, but
You are kind
Laura
of a-
could get any job she wanted.
Thank you for saying that. I am very lucky in life, and not that's not
Laura,
to dismiss my hard work. I work hard.
Win awards.
She does.
You win
Megan
awards.
wins
I don't
awards.
understand. Yeah. Oh, I don't understand. I didn't know there were awards to be given, but I'm just like, Dad, your sister's at another conference getting prizes. I was like, for what? But our dad always says, doesn't count unless it's a cash award.
Right, absolutely doesn't count. And you know what they don't give in academia? Cash awards.
Cash awards.
Not a lot of them.
No, those are few and far between. They're usually called scholarships, and
Fellowship.
they might come with health insurance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't even know where I was going, but I just had no clue what I was getting into. And then when I got into it, it was very clear it wasn't right for me, but I didn't feel like I could leave.
Yeah.
So then I had to decide through lots of therapy, lots of journaling, lots of crying, like how I could do it and be okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to quit. Not that I now believe like quitting isn't always an answer.
Yeah.
And it's
That's always a solution.
yes.
Yeah.
But I decided I was going to make it work and I was going to be happy and okay. And I have been. And especially this past year, I was on fellowship, which just means that I was paid to do my research. I didn't have to teach. And with the pandemic, I felt so lucky not to have to navigate that with students because I am such an empathetic person. I am so sensitive to other people's needs and energies. And when I had to teach, like at the very beginning of the pandemic, it was hard. I was like, everyone gets A's.
Yeah.
This is a global pandemic. I don't care.
Yeah.
A's for everyone. And then I had time away from teaching and I was healthy for the first time. I was happy for the first time. And I was like, I might be good at teaching. I might enjoy teaching, but my body does better when it's not responsible or doesn't feel responsible for 25 other bodies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard.
I feel like there are a lot of careers out there where it's hard because like the people that are best at it, it's because of their strengths, which like empathy is a strength, but it turns into this like it's not healthy.
Right. And it's exploited.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that with our mom and teaching a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So for any listeners that are talking about or thinking about grad school, like I even over the summer contacted grad school.
Knowing what you knew.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Well, because I think everybody gets to a point with their job or with whatever, being like, would I be happier doing something else? Do I need to go back to school? Is that the answer? Because I was thinking about going for therapy, like to be a therapist. Gotcha. And it's like, well, there's no choice here.
Right.
When do you think that higher education is the answer, or when should people focus on something else? You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like there's those like, TikToks going around like, do I really want to, am I bored or do I want to go to grad school? Like something like that.
Yes. Do I really want to go to grad school or am I just bored?
Yeah, do I really want to go to grad school or am I just bored? Yeah.
I think I would love to say just go for the hell of learning. Learning new things is fun. That would be great if we could just go to grad school and learn things and that could be enough. But it's capitalism, baby. You have got to know what's coming next. And that doesn't mean that what you go in thinking is next has to be what comes next. But I do think that not enough people think about the practical realities of postgraduate job markets. There's this idea that because the job market is so limited that you just take what you can get. You move to the middle of nowhere because that's where the jobs are. And you're just grateful to be tenure track. And that's just so unfair to that's just being so unfair to yourself, I think, to just take what you can get. It's also, I'm speaking from such a fucking place of privilege. I know that. But just this idea that we should take the scraps and be okay. It's what makes it so easy for them to pay us so little.
Yeah.
It's what makes it easy to see a $2 billion clock tower go up and just like be disgusted by it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that it's the right choice if it is taking you in the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
And if you realize that's no longer the direction you want to go, get out. That's why I say you don't pay for it.
Yeah.
If you can get a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship or even just like work study. Because that way it's not just like this sunk time fallacy, but the sunk cost one as well.
Yeah, and something else I've had to remind myself and think about too is like we are doing a specific kind of grad school.
Yes.
We're doing like the whole shebang. When lots of people can go to grad school for a master's in something that totally makes sense and is necessary for their field.
Yeah. I enjoyed my master's.
Yeah.
If I had felt like that was enough, I think this would be a very different conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like people can go get masters in education, in social work. You know, what's the one for business? MBA.
Yeah.
You know, things like that makes sense.
Yeah, that is important to acknowledge. We're in the humanities.
We're in the humanities and we're in a doctoral program. Going to grad school doesn't always mean getting a PhD.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever I was first like, oh my God, no one ever go to grad school. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You can find happiness doing other things.
Right.
Now I have to take a step back and think, okay, what would it be for and why do you want it? Because
Why
I'm
do you
also
want it?
like
Yeah.
you. Like, sure, there is like this romanticized thing like, oh, I just want to go and study books.
Right.
Like, that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
But I think that like you have to think about the practical nature of it. Like if it makes sense for your job, your position, where you think you might want to go, then think about it. Do lots of research into your different options, different programs, different benefits of getting an extra degree, and like weigh those. You know what I mean?
And think about where you want to be. Think about like what sort of town you want to be in. Think about what sort of access you want to have to an airport or a Target or, like think about what sort of life you want to have outside of grad school. Because if you don't, your entire life becomes grad school. I always say grad school will take from you what you let it.
Yeah.
So if you don't live in a town that you can enjoy or can afford, it's miserable. Grad school does become your whole life. And I don't think anything should be anyone's whole life. I think balance is the key to comfort and happiness.
Absolutely.
Are you guys, I kind of answer this, but are you leaving grad school with the career or like path that you intended to leave grad school with?
I think it's too early for me to
So do you have 2 more years?
3.
3 more years.
Yeah, so I'm only halfway done. Laura's much further than I am. As of now, I think I'm okay. It still makes sense for me to have gotten a PhD if I'm wanting to teach at the college level. And that's still, as of now, what I really want to do. So currently speaking, I'm okay.
Yeah. It's not that I'm totally anti-academic job market. If there's a school that is in a place that I like and would let me teach classes that I like and, that it's still an option for me. Yeah. But I also have made it a priority to think about what other options are. And that is work I've had to do on my own. That's not something like my advisor is wonderful. He's a saint and the probably best thing to happen to me at IU and but I've had to do the work of figuring out like, can I work?
Scary.
What's that?
What was that?
Is it my phone? Oh no! End goal. End goal. End goal.
Oh my God.
Laura just called 911. I don't know if this is getting cut out or not. They're going to call you back.
What? How did you call 911? Your butt was just moving, girl.
I didn't mean it. Okay, so before I accidentally called the emergency services, I think what I was saying was just that I've had to put in the work of figuring out what my other options are because we are in an environment where the next step is professorship.
Yeah.
And so when I decided I was okay with that not being the next step, but that I needed to figure out what options were available, I became much more comfortable in the not knowing.
Do you feel like your doctorate is going to be an asset in the career field or, in the job market, even if you want to do something different? Do you feel like...
I think it will be, yes. I think writing the dissertation that I'm writing is going to be something that opens doors for me, whether that be in because I'm writing about sexual assault narratives, it could open doors in nonprofit.
Okay.
In the nonprofit arena. It can open doors in film. It can open doors, so there's more options for me than I thought there were. And
what I think is great is you did that. I mean, it came to a point of necessity. It was you were going to break down but there was an option that other people didn't even know about, which was make your doctorate about you. Yeah. Which was a hard choice. And for a long time, I was pretty anti work through your trauma through your doctorate. I was like,
nothing like high theory to make you comfortable.
That sounds like a lot of trauma to deal with. Especially now with Brett Kavanaugh and everything that's just so triggering. But, yeesh. But by you doing that, you've made yourself an expert academically, which has made yourself an asset to a very specific field, but a field that still matters.
Right. I came to my project at the time of the Me Too movement. That was sort of what propelled me forward in pursuing what I'm pursuing. And when public discourse is so present about a topic, it makes it easier to feel like, oh, this can be a public project. It doesn't have to be that just my committee sees this. Because that can be really, for some people, that's comforting. Okay. For me, it's not.
Yeah.
For me, it's not.
You feel like you're writing it for other people.
I feel very much, this is probably weird, but I feel very much like I want to write a dissertation that Dad can read. Yeah. And understand not only the topic better, but me better. Yeah. Yeah. It's really important. This is heavy, but I told myself I could not move forward with the topic until I told Dad about my sexual assault.
Did you tell Dad? Yeah. I didn't know that you did.
We Zoomed.
When was this?
2018. Okay. 2017, 2018. And we didn't talk about the story or anything. I just said, hey, I've become very interested in this. It was when I was getting published for the first time about sexual assault on campuses. And I just decided I wanted him to be able to follow
what you were doing,
what I was doing, because it's just, he takes so much pride in us. Yeah. And it's important to him that he understands what we're doing. It's not just he's like, my daughter's at grad school, Yeah. My daughter's a photographer. He wants to know. Yeah. And so it's been very important to me that I make a project that is accessible to him. Yeah. And so I started following more public intellectuals, like Roxane Gay. And it's been really important to me that I remember that there are people like Roxane Gay has a PhD. She taught at Purdue, dude. But she's has moved. Opened other doors for herself.
Megan, seeing Laura being, a couple years ahead of you, and you guys are in the same program. So what have you learned from being in the program, seeing other people in the program? Was your, your first day on campus, is your outlook like wildly different now, or are you still kind of where you were then, like mentally?
Oh, wildly different. Wildly different. Like I mentioned, like I feel like I knew a little bit more about the realities of the likelihood of the job market and getting a job and things like that. But I did not know what I was signing up for. I did not know at all. I knew nothing.
You don't realize how different the coursework is.
Right.
Yeah. We study rhetoric. I didn't know what ethos, pathos, and logos were.
Right.
And I don't know now.
I mean,
Ethos is a belief system.
It's sure.
anyway, that was just an example that came up because I
know
just knew
ethos
nothing.
from The Big Lebowski. Say what you want about nihilism. At least it's an ethos.
Oh my God, Rachel. That's incredible. I've never been prouder of your sister. It's not that I study ethos, so you know ethos.
Yeah.
It's not nihilism. Say what you want about communism. Something like that. At least it's an ethos. Nihilism, you believe in nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I just assumed Rachel knew ethos because of you.
I did too. What a narcissist. And narcissist by proxy.
Yeah.
Am I wildly off?
No. In rhetoric, it's about character. It's about identity. It's about communicating the self.
Oh.
So belief system's not far off.
Yeah.
Huh.
Vibes.
Yeah.
I learned today. Thank you, teachers, masters.
Well, that was an example I used because apparently, like, people learn that in high school in, like, AP classes. No idea.
I didn't take AP classes.
No, I signed up for a 6-year doctoral program, and I had taken one class in rhetoric adjacent. I had no idea what I was doing. I still have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I belonged at all. I was like, who are these people? What am I reading? Why does any of this matter?
Well, I do
people
feel
are
like
dying.
People are dying. I do feel like the education system profits off of being an imposter.
Right.
Like it's this constant, you're trying to convince yourself that you're good enough to keep going, to keep investing in school. It's like...
It's the ultimate pyramid scheme, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, truly. That was something
not
I
wrong.
decided early on was that before I was like, I'm definitely not, or before I was like, I'm not sure I'm going on the academic job market, I had told myself I'm definitely not going to apply for jobs where I would teach doctoral students.
I've had that thought.
Because I just sort of thought, ethically, I was like, the jobs aren't there. I'd rather work with master's students because there are jobs. And it's a huge asset to have a master's in English. Communication is the number one sought skill in job ads, right?
Having a doctorate, like, can it ever play against you? Like, if you have a doctorate, you don't want to go into, like in your case, education. You try to get a job in HR somewhere.
No.
Do you feel like...
I couldn't imagine.
No, I think, first of all, you can leave it off. Resumes are completely tailorable.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You can just say you've been teaching for the last 4 years or whatever. But no, I think it's only a problem if you don't know how to market it. If you don't know how to market yourself as someone who has done project and data management. That's ultimately what research is, you know, like it's just about thinking outside of the academic discourse, which is difficult to do unless you have people who aren't in academia.
It's harder than you think.
Way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to wrap up the episode, I want to hear from both of you. If you could tell yourself one thing on your first day of your programs, like your doctorate, I guess your master's doctorate, if there would be one thing you could tell yourself, what would it be?
One thing, I just think I would tell myself, just do you. Just follow your instincts, follow your gut, because maybe you don't like what's happening now, but just do your own thing and trust yourself.
Yes.
Because as Laura mentioned, anytime I've done that, I've been happy with what's happened. I've been happy with like either the research I've done or, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
Big things, little things. Anytime I've not worried about, like, oh my gosh, is this academic enough? Or is, like, this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Am I citing the right people?
Am I citing the right people? Am I behaving in class like I should? You know, just everything.
Yeah.
Just do your own thing. Trust yourself, because you'll feel good if you do that. And it'll all end up okay if you do that.
That was absolutely going to be mine, but I'm just going to say ditto.
Yeah.
And I think I would try to convince myself that it's not that serious.
I thought about that too.
Because especially early on, because it was so foreign to me, I had no idea how the meetings with the graduate studies director went, and everything felt so huge. It was like, if I don't figure this problem out right now, it will never be solved.
Right.
And that was just not the case. I think that's a good, just attitude in life, but especially when you're taking on a new role, a new job, to be patient with. I wish I had been more patient with myself. I wish I had acknowledged how fucking hard it is and respected that. I wish I hadn't thought that I was an imposter for feeling like it was hard, right? Just respecting, this is hard.
Because we're not used to having it hard.
No.
I feel like that sounds bad, but it's true.
Right.
We're really not used to having it that hard.
No. You talked about failing for the first time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is the first time I've ever really felt incompetent for a sustained period of time.
Just reading words on a page and they're just words.
I'm
getting nothing.
Yes.
I'm getting nothing from this.
Yes. And just being more comfortable admitting that, when I started being honest with people at parties about how hard things were, I became so much happier, because when you go to graduate school parties, all people could talk about is graduate school. And I was like, have you heard Ariana Grande's new album? Like, oh my God, have you seen what Justin Bieber's doing? Like, I was like, no, don't talk to me about this. I don't care. This is really hard for me, and it's important that I have another life.
Another life, yeah.
So.
Your whole identity isn't you as a graduate student.
Yeah.
Who you are, what you're doing, how successful, whatever that means, you think you are. That's not what matters.
I told Meg,
none of it matters. It's all fine.
Dude, we're all just floating on a rock in space, bro.
Yeah.
Truly.
I told Megan and her roommate Sarah, who's also in our program, shout out Sarah.
Another friend of the pod.
Another friend of the pod. Told them very early on, good is good enough.
Oh.
Everything you do cannot be your best work. It just can't be. It's not
possible. Even
if you didn't have to sleep or eat or go to the bathroom, you could not do it all. Grad school will take from you what you let it. So be fine being just okay at certain things. The point of a graduate degree, a doctoral degree, is to be an expert in a very specific thing.
Yeah.
But you take coursework in a bunch of different topics. And you feel this pressure to be good on all of the topics. Like, I need to be good at this in this Shakespeare class. I need to be good in this postmodernism class. I need to be good in this rhetoric class. No, really, all I need to be good at is the rhetoric class.
But my niche thing within rhetoric.
Yes.
That's the only thing.
So it's just, I don't know. I have told myself I'm going to write a book about how to be okay in grad school but that's one of the other reasons I'm going to finish. It's just so that I could say, look, dudes, I did it.
Yeah.
Buy my book.
Yeah.
But yeah, good is good enough. Words I live by. I've used that all throughout grad school. It's just become done is good enough.
Yeah.
Just getting it done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura without her, who knows where I would be. Just so much wisdom.
Ditto, girl.
Incredible.
Honestly, same.
Thank you guys for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having us.
I was so surprised. I was like, people want to know about grad school?
I mean,
they
we'll
haven't
see.
asked. So this might be too niche.
You want to know about grad school?
Right, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, even for people like listening to stuff.
Yeah.
I hope. I don't know.
Well, thank you so much.
And maybe we talk someone out And maybe we talk someone in, you know?
I mean, just like, I'm always happy to talk about this. So DM Rach and she'll DM us.
Yeah. I'll have him on again next time.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
You can drive through the Matrix again to come here.
Oh my God, the drive back.
I would only do it for the podcast.
Absolutely.
It was horrible. I was sweating through my t-shirt.
Oh my God.
It
Put
was
on the
pretty
AC, girl.
It was hot. Anyway.
I'm on a new
was
medication,
horrible.
so I was having some serious dry mouth. So we had to stop at Meijer and get some like spray.
Dry mouth spray?
I never heard of it.
It was horrible.
Not water.
Yeah.
Dry mouth spray.
No, the water was going to make us pee. We can't stop it anymore. We already stopped twice like old women.
It's a lot. It was
Well, guys, I think it's time to go get some Swensons.
Oh.
Is it not?
Yay.
Woo!
So excited.
Good night, everyone.
Yo.
Okay.